So I will make sure and if you want me to email it to you, then you can write your email down on your way out to your massage. Cool. So I do sincerely believe, actually, that these greens that you have in your salad are the single most important things we put in our bodies. Isn't this a perfect soundtrack? Green foods. I rank it up there with sunlight, water, and the air we breathe. I sincerely
It's the killing that comes up like
Hey, is there a volume switch somewhere? No.
Oh, yeah.
You rub your eyes.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Except, because it's back.
Yes. Cool. So, what is it about green foods? Green foods of all kinds, of course. Kale, arugula, chard, spinach, parsley, cilantro, blue-green algae, green drinks, all the above. It's greens, chlorophyll, that are number one for pulling funk out, toxic funk out, and putting restorative nutrients back in. So really, well, the big diet protocol that we just need to have ingrained in our consciousness is more foods that pull funk out and put the restorative nutrients back in. That's the big protocol. And we forget. We've gotten so ingrained into counting calories and getting our percentages of fat and carbs and protein just right, which actually we have way more flexibility than we realize. And when we're doing these nutrient-dense foods that are delivering that nutritive substance that our bodies are starving for, this is in a way like it controls your appetite. That because of these nutritive foods, you're just satiated on fewer calories in general. And it's interesting, isn't it, that you are able to do the most exercise in your life, at least it would be for me, on fewer calories than you would probably normally have. And that, yes, it is, you need calories for fuel, but it's the nutritive stuff that is the life force. These nutrients, these foods, are basically just triggering every organ and function to operate at its elite level. And when everything's working at its best, you're able to just do things that are just mind-blowing. And I think the greatest value you get out of this program is you learn just what's possible. You learn how much control you have over your health, and it's really quite enlightening. You're going to leave here, those of you who've been here before know well what I'm talking about, but you're going to leave feeling like a different person. I know many of you come for weight loss and also just a psychological detox, and it is nice to see data and pounds lost and inches lost. But the greatest value is you just have more health, energy, and psychological clarity. I think that's what people notice the most. They just feel like a different person. And here's the big picture that we really need to consider, is that we are using all these different foods to trigger these organs and functions to operate at their elite level, and all of these things are taking care of this. This is the core of your health. This is it. This is the core of your health. That when you're doing all of this physical exercise, so with this food, you're putting the nutritive stuff into your bloodstream. The exercise, you're pumping the handle to get that oxygen, nutrient-rich blood to every cell in the body. And then this works better. And then this is telling all of this what to do. It creates this reciprocated ripple effect going through your body. And there's really no place where you permanently plateau. It's incredibly enlightening. You're going to leave here. And the cool thing is, well, I mean, I think it's alarming for most of you when you leave. You're just like, whoa, I had no idea this was possible. And so the whole discipline of controlling your caloric intake and the foods you eat turns into more of it evolves into a desire. It's like, okay, I'll do this. Yes, I love it. You have a bit of a palate shift. Instinctively, you're going to come to just crave these foods more and more. And so, bottom line, it's just about adding more plant foods to your diet. That's really it. And healthy fats, and we need to talk about just what those are. It's a hugely misunderstood subject. So, I have a few key pointers that I want to make sure you go home with that I think are of just the highest impact, the easiest and highest impact stuff. That's what I go for. The most bang for the buck philosophy. I live by that. And so I want you to go home with a couple things about the exercise you do and your diet here and how they link together. And I'm going to make sure I cover them, but I also want to try to answer your questions. I can't promise I can answer everything. I ain't no doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a RN or a DN or anything of that nature. This is just my expertise. I've been living the life for many years and seeing what works and what doesn't, and then trying the protocol on you guys. And yeah. So if you don't know, if anybody doesn't want to fire a question, I'm just going to keep going. Yeah.
What's the best thing to eat if you're losing your memory?
Okay, that is a brilliant
Like
question.
I'm losing my memory.
That's a brilliant question. And actually, I love it.
I just sometimes I don't remember everything. I mean,
It's a really important thing. It's a really important thing. And I just made a comment a moment ago that this is the core of our health right here, neurological health. It's not to brag, but it's my specialty in a way because I had to heal myself from a brain injury. And so, again, I said it, green foods are the most important food we put in our body, hands down. That, again, it's two parts, pulling the funk out, putting the restorative back in, and it's green foods that pull the funk out. It's chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what makes all living green things green, everything out there. We're definitely not talking about cupcakes and Tic Tacs and things of that nature. Living green things. And what chlorophyll does is it literally absorbs toxins in the bloodstream and poof, recycles it into oxygen. It's mind-blowing. Looking at how it interacts with the planet is a perfect model. Blue-green algae, first life on Earth. It soaked up toxic acid rain and recycled it into oxygen that built our atmosphere. And it does the same thing in the human body. More green foods, the better. And here's what happens. Here's how it's linked to this. Toxins that accumulate in the body over years of too many processed foods that create metabolic waste that accumulates in the body and not breathing the best air and not drinking the best water, that accumulates in the body and it puts a subtle burden, not always subtle, it puts a burden on these sensitive things. It's a burden. You take that burden off and it's unlocking a bit of a life force, if you will. Everything works better. These are all serving this better. And the most important nutriment, the silver bullet for this is oxygen, nutrient-rich blood that you create with your lifestyle, with these foods. And so it's, again, taking the funk out, putting the restorative back in. What's the most restorative thing for the brain? The most restorative thing for the brain is healthy fats. Healthy fats, and we need to talk about this. This is so important. That what's the brain made of? The brain is made of saturated fat. Remember back in the 90s when we all went to a low-fat diet because we thought fats were making us fat, which back then they were, actually. The low-grade fats basically just attack your thyroid. We'll go into the chemistry and physiology in just a moment, but when we went to a low-fat diet, this thing starved, and everybody got fatter, and we got cranky and tired. This suffers. That you're constantly getting wear and tear on your body from not living the most pure lifestyle, and you need good quality fat for the brain to rebuild itself. This is the main thing that suffers on a low-fat diet. Super important. So it's all about getting the right fats. And the right fats have the opposite effect on your weight. Opposite. And so what are the right fats? What are the right fats? Yes? Yes. Olive oil. Olive oil. It's elite. So the nutshell version, what are the best fats? Raw, unheated plant fats. So that would be olive oil, cold-pressed olive oil, raw nuts and seeds, avocados, okay? And here's how they help with the whole weight loss thing, is that it is oils. It's fats that satiate your appetite more than anything. So 100 calories, for example, 100 calories of olive oil would satisfy your appetite way more than 100 calories of, say, crackers, some starchy food. And that's the reason we had to become so disciplined in counting calories, because we could eat a huge plate of, like, pasta, for example, just a bunch of starch to where you kind of physically feel full, but we're still instinctively craving something. That's why we have ice cream for dessert. You're craving fat for this. And so if we have more of these healthy fats into our diet, you're going to be consuming fewer overall calories. Because, again, you're satiating your appetite. Your body's starving for the nutrients and fat more than anything. And so, and good fats don't make you fat. Fats and carbs are both fuel. They're both fuel. They both burn the exact same way. Okay? And so what we need to do is add more of these raw fats. And, again, it's just fuel. That's all it is. And so there's two categories here. There's unsaturated fats, which all that means it's a liquid at room temperature, and then saturated fats, which means it's a solid at room temperature. So that would be butter and coconut oil, and hydrogenated vegetable oils, and animal lard. And you need both. And when we learn that actually you do really need fats in your diet, it's like, okay, just no saturated fats. No, you have to have both. You have to have both. Now, saturated fats do require some moderation, because while the elite saturated fats won't make you fat, they can raise your cholesterol. They can raise your cholesterol. Now, 1 to 3 tablespoons of butter or coconut oil, is that going to raise your cholesterol? No, probably not. If you are at risk of heart disease, then it's good to cut them out entirely for that period. And another reason that saturated fats like butter, ghee, or coconut oil are so important is they are the fats that you want to cook with. That unsaturated fats are very heat sensitive. If you cook with olive oil, for example, it will break down under heat. And it produces a kind of free radical that is irritating for your thyroid. It sets off a whole ripple effect where then your metabolism goes down and weight goes up. Does that make sense? I know we all cook with olive oil. I know the Italians get away with it. Every body type is different. These are not absolute laws of human biology, but they do apply to most people.
Well, so how do you eat cold olive oil? Just
salad
like
dressing. Salad dressing, and also you could steam grains, quinoa or brown rice, and then just put it on afterwards.
Different.
So, but
Hi,
hi.
excuse me.
Hi.
Hey, Sally. You're going to have a massage pretty quick, so come on up when you're ready. I'm in the cottage today. It's on the right, the last one on the right. Do you know where to go? Yeah, up on top. And then just a reminder, here's this Watsu sign-up sheet.
What?
Can I pass it around while you guys are all sitting here? People know about it? Any questions right now? Okay. See you around. Thank you. Bye.
Law of human biology, though. Raw olive oil, you will never make yourself fat. Impossible. Douse your salad with it. I'm serious.
So, for instance, when you're doing broiled vegetables,
Yes.
you're tossing them in the olive oil,
Yes.
sticking them in, roasted.
Yes.
So that actually isn't the olive oil gets broken down there. It's not that great for you.
It's very heat sensitive.
So
All unsaturated fats, canola, safflower, sunflower, olive oil, flaxseed oil, borage oil, fish oil, all of those are heat sensitive. They all break down under heat.
So
Hi.
it's not great.
Hi. Oh, that feels good.
Is Annie at the table? Great. Keep going, sorry.
I forgot what I was talking about. So, and that's what happened back in the 90s. Here's what happened, is we discovered, wow, you can do cheap oils for pennies. Alternatives to expensive oils like olive oil and butter and coconut oil, you can do hydrogenated vegetable oil for pennies, canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. And they are basically just low-grade oils that have gone rancid. And again, they set off this chain reaction. And so what we need to do now is just reintegrate the healthy fats, the raw unsaturated, again, nuts, seeds, avocados, olive oil. Phase out the not so healthy unsaturated like canola, safflower, sunflower. They're not great. They go rancid very easily the way they're processed. Okay, and then also integrate again a moderate balance of saturated fats. And I consider that I've mentioned them a few times now. I consider the elite. I know this may raise some eyebrows, but I consider the elite to be coconut, butter, and ghee. Ghee and butter are virtually the same thing. So.
But even with all these good fats, you still have to moderate your quantity.
Not with unsaturated. You really don't. You have way more flexibility.
Each tablespoon of olive oil is 100 calories. So
Exactly.
5 tablespoons of olive oil, which is not a lot in a salad. That's 500 calories salad.
Right, exactly. And what you're going to find is at the end of the day, you will be consuming fewer overall calories in general because of how much fats actually satiate your appetite. What really made people fat, it was the combination of low-grade oils attacking the thyroid and just too much starchy food that burns like that and doesn't satiate, so we overdo it. That's the whole thing. So that would be pasta, bread, chips, crackers, any wheat flour products, cereal, granola, all that sort of stuff. And I challenge you to do this for the first month. Once you leave here, see what happens.
All right, one more question for you. So when you go to the airport or you're traveling, you can get their bag of like trail mix or unsalted almonds or unsalted cashews. You look at that calorie count from the back, it's 1,200 calories for those bags at this point.
Right.
And 8 servings times 150 calories. So we're
Right.
Right. And I can eat that whole bag on a plate.
Mm-hmm.
It's still better than having the ice cream sundae or the cupcake. I know that, or the McDonald's Big Mac, but it's still a lot of calories to have.
Yeah, those foods are extremely low grade. Those nuts and seeds, those oils and those nuts and seeds are definitely rancid, and that's why we've come to feel that all nuts and seeds can make you fat, is because the majority of them are either roasted or they're just old and the oils are oxygen sensitive and they break down, and it's just a law of nature. So here's an example.
What are you saying, raw?
They have to be. They have to be raw.
They have to be raw.
Any roasted nuts or seeds, that oils go rancid. So here's an example. Eskimos, they subsist on whale blubber and mussels. Heart disease doesn't exist in their culture. But every body type is different. There's no law that applies to everybody. I mean, look at the Balinese. They subsist on rice and vegetables and a little beef. So every body type is different. So again, there is no one protocol for everybody. As far as the whole fat carbs balance, you have way more flexibility than people would think.
So if you were to cook a stir fry or something, what oil would you cook with?
The heat stables are coconut and butter and ghee. So yes,
I like that. The coconut oil's great.
you know what?
It's great.
So does it taste coconut?
Yeah, it does.
We cook your eggs with coconut oil here. Again, it's heat stable. Saturated fats are heat stable. They don't break down under heat and produce those thyroid depressing free radicals. So, and I know that some of you were feeling a little gleeful when I said butter, and that's your body's instincts. The dairy thing, there's a lot of debate about it, but here's the reality: is dairy and butter-like products have been in the human diet for tens of thousands of years all over the world, and the body has adapted very well to
You
it.
don't have dairy.
You don't need it, right? Dairy isn't for everybody, and so, but you still need to get saturated fats. And I say coconut is absolutely brilliant, and macadamia nuts, those two. And fresh coconut, but also just cold pressed coconut oil. It's a bit of a weight loss food actually, because it has lauric acid, which stimulates your thyroid. So that's cool.
Which one?
Coconut, but it has to be cold pressed.
Coconut stimulates your thyroid.
Yes.
It stimulates your metabolism.
Yes, exactly. I stay away from it, otherwise it makes me too skinny. I know that makes some of you happy. Makes me too skinny.
What about sugar?
Sugar, that's an important subject. And here's
The answer is no. The answer is no.
here's a law of human biology. We have a sweet tooth because we need it for our survival. We have to have sugar for our brain. Why? Because sugar, boom, instant glucose, instant brain fuel, where grains, fats can take hours to break down, to be converted into fuel. And so, what's the elite sugar?
Fruit.
Yes, fruit. What's the elite fruit?
Berries.
Berries. We have to keep our sweet tooth happy with regular fruit in your diet. Now, there are some people who need to stay away from fruit altogether. You know, there are all kinds of different health issues out there where we'll need to modify people's diets. But in general, we need regular fruit in our diet. It keeps our sweet tooth happy. If we don't have enough, then when processed sugar is around, we just go nuts. And that's kind of the general law of nature.
Yeah.
So one thing that really helps is to have your sugar, fruit, blueberries, strawberries, with protein fats, like yogurt. The two combine really well. Another example would be nuts and seeds if you don't do dairy products. The reason is you're getting your sugar, your brain food that your body's craving, but it's protein fats. It's those good quality fats that really satiate. If you're just eating sugar by itself, if you eat a banana, for example, you're hungry 10 minutes later. You'll eat another one. And it does, and fruit still does require some degree of moderation. It's hard to overdo with berries, but I mean, you don't want to eat like 6 bananas in a day.
Berries are difficult because they're not always in season.
You're right. You're right. And the body's needs do adapt somewhat to the seasons. That until really 100 years ago, like this time of year, in most climates here in the United States, we just had meat and potatoes and sauerkraut, fermented vegetables from the previous season.
It terrifies me. It's like nowadays they have all these biogenetic
It's true.
things that are created, and so you don't never know if they're real or they're not.
It's true. So it can be a disadvantage like you're talking about. It can also be an advantage. In a way, we're really lucky now that we can have all these amazing fruits and vegetables available year-round, which I think is totally brilliant. But the reality is, in order for these fruits and vegetables to be able to grow in such harsh climates, they've been genetically engineered to just grow faster. And so more than ever, we just need to go for the elite foods, stuff that is grown organically. Raw fruits and vegetables, raw fats, and a moderate amount of animal products if that's what's in your blood type.
Can you use frozen fruit, though? You could use
Yes.
frozen.
Yes, definitely. And you know what? I'm a huge fan of that. I'll tell you what I do. I have a smoothie in the morning. I think a smoothie is the most perfect first meal of the day.
What do you put in it?
Yeah.
So I make it a well-rounded meal. I put my natural sugar in there. I put a handful of strawberries. I put my protein fats in there, like a heaping spoonful of whole yogurt and or raw almond butter.
Okay.
And then I get my blast of nutrients. You know that little shot of green drink you have?
Yeah.
Boom, I put some of that in there. And now it's a well-rounded meal. You got your sugar, you got your protein fats, you got your nutritive stuff. And it's liquid. It's easy to digest. It kind of takes a while for things to get going. That's why when people jump out of bed, they're not craving something right away. We have hot drinks, which is cool too. So why don't we do like a kind of the ideal day sequence? First thing, feet hit the floor in the morning, chug water. And you've been going for 8 to 10 hours without drinking anything. The body dries out a little bit. So chug some water. And then people do like hot drinks in the morning. I think that's cool. If you have caffeine, cap it at 100 milligrams. Coming here, if you have caffeine, is a perfect reset. When you leave, keep it to 1 cup of coffee a day, if you have caffeine. If you don't, I say, to heck with it. Or 2 cups of tea. That would be 2 black tea bags or 3 green tea bags would be 100 milligrams. More than that, and it's wear and tear on your adrenals. And energy's just doing this, and it's addictive. So, hot drinks, I'm a fan of smoothies. And then I believe in just smaller, more frequent meals. The 2-meal-a-day thing where you have a giant cup of coffee and then a giant lunch and dinner is a disaster. It's so exhausting. It takes work for your body to break down a meal. And when you have a giant meal, people get tired. And so the thing to do to sustain your energy is to just have smaller, more frequent meals, like 4 or 5 a day. Your smoothie's a meal.
Is that for energy or is that for calorie burning also?
Both. Both. I'm not saying snacking. Constantly just munching isn't great. You got to give
I
your...
love snacking.
I know. See, but here's the thing.
Like, what should I grab instead of a bag of chips?
Good question. See, it's those starchy foods that are a total disaster because they
peas.
don't satiate.
Peas that have been cooked or something.
Peas would be a little depressing.
Peas? You know those peas that they sell in the supermarket?
Edamames?
Yeah. Oh yeah, edamame's actually a good
How
one.
many raw cashews do you grab or raw almonds? Like, I can't have 5 or 10. That's not a substantial.
No. No.
What can you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So, but we'll get there. We'll get
Talk to me about my nuts first before we
That's basically my question. Can you have as much as you want?
You two can.
Can you believe this debaucherous discussion?
going on at my ashram?
Right. Okay. So I want to answer that question. Okay. So nuts by themselves, do they satiate? A great snack, again, nuts and seeds with dry fruit. It makes somewhat of a well-rounded meal. And I'm definitely not talking about like M&Ms and chocolate-covered peanuts and things of that nature, because then you're getting into processed sugar. Remember, we want to go with the elite here. Okay? And I'm not saying you need to cut these things out entirely, by the way. We're just talking about general lifestyle here. Having too much discipline kind of has some wear and tear on our psychological health, I feel. We're just looking to really build some sturdy chemistry in your body so that when you're out with friends, you say, to heck with it, I'll eat whatever. I don't care. Sort of. I mean, I probably wouldn't eat a quarter pounder with cheese, but if I was starving with friends and that was all there was, I'd say, to heck with it, I'll eat whatever. I don't care. Maybe not a corn dog, but... Right. So, okay, but I want to talk more about that in just a second, because the sugary salty combination, I tell you, it just gets away from you. It really does. It really does.
Maybe you keep eating it.
Yes. Yes.
And the more you eat, the more you want.
Yes.
Well, you can just roast them in the oven, can't you?
That's the problem, is those sensitive oils in raw nuts and seeds go rancid.
Oh,
and then you're getting those oils that attack this.
Well, even if you toast it in the
What's
oven,
this, thyroid?
in the oven, thyroid.
Yes. Unfortunately. I know it's a drag, but we got to phase them out for our optimum health and longevity.
So can you have as much raw?
So raw, unheated almonds are awesome, but if you eat too many nuts and seeds, the only downside, it can be a little constipating. It does require some degree of moderation. But with nuts and seeds, the best are sprouted. Did you all get any of the almonds on trail today that were really dry and crispy? Aren't those nice?
In the back of the line, you get it?
Yeah, I didn't get them either. I was with that.
They were really good.
So they're a totally different food. And here's what happens. And a nut or seed like that does satiate. And let me tell you why. So just normal raw nuts and seeds, those things have natural preservatives. When they're out in nature and they fall off a plant and they're sitting in the dirt, they have preservatives to prevent bacteria, mold, insects from just eating it. And then in the spring, months later, when it rains, it soaks up that water. It swells up to like twice its size. And it releases all that stuff into the dirt around itself, killing everything so it can sprout and grow. And so when you soak nuts or seeds in water, it goes through that process, boom, overnight. So when you have like almonds, if you want to have almonds in your oatmeal in the morning, soak them in a glass of water on your counter overnight, and then drain, and then dump the water out and throw them in there. And they're a far more digestible food, and the nutrients, the protein, fats are just more bioavailable. Your body is better able to digest it and absorb it, and it doesn't make you gassy and bloated. It digests way better, and again, you're getting the nutritive benefit. Sprouted nuts and seeds are a whole new category. And so these almonds, they're soaked in water, they're salted with Celtic sea salt, super mineral rich, and then they go in a dehydrator, where it's just blowing warm air over them until they become crisp and crunchy. And they're a fantastic food. Have that with a prune or a date, or some dry cranberries, and you're golden.
Can you buy that in a shop?
Yeah.
Sometimes they are one of my products, not to brag or anything, but they are.
Do you sell walnuts?
Yeah,
Sorry.
walnuts.
Walnuts
Raw
are
walnuts.
awesome. Total brain food. Raw walnuts are awesome, and they are actually more digestible. They don't have to be soaked. So, but things like sunflower seeds and flax seeds, soak them.
Soak them.
Totally. Soak them
In
overnight.
water.
Yes, that's all it takes.
This sounds like too much work. I mean, can you?
And then what do you do? Wait, so what do you do once you soak them? You strain them?
You know what? Actually, you can. At the natural food store, there's like a raw food section now that everybody's buzzing about.
Right.
They will have like the sprouted raw flaxseed crackers.
Yeah.
And they'll also have little bags of sprouted pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, maybe almonds.
The salad that they had today, those sunflower seeds were sprouted.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
What do we have today?
Digestible, way more nutritive.
Seed pate.
Oh,
It was delicious.
Really, thank you.
It was really divine.
Yes.
And so the pate was made of what? Beetroot, sunflower seeds, and
So
beetroot.
I do have like a jar of spirulina, right?
Yes.
And then the flax seeds, apparently your flax seeds are supposed to be pressed or something. So we got to go back and
Soaked
buy
in
those
water.
pressed.
No.
Just soak them.
Yeah.
And so you put the spoons of these, you pour in coconut water, and you put in your yogurt, and you put in the fruit, and I put nice. Then you take a spoonful of spirulina, and what do you put spoons of?
Okay, so here's my favorite recipe. Handful of strawberries, like 5 to 10 frozen strawberries, boom.
Yeah.
Just simple purified water.
Purified, so not the coconut water.
Nah.
Okay.
I'll chop open a coconut here and there because I really like that water, but I don't drink the canned
Like
coconut
Brita
water.
water? Does that count as purified?
Pretty darn mediocre. It's important, you guys. Water, greens, fresh air, sunshine. Those are the 4 life force essentials. And so water, I mean, I would drink like some Brita filtered water in a major pinch. But it's important to get some really pure water. I mean, that's just a carbon filter. All it does is it filters the chunks out and chlorine. That's it. But other smaller contaminants, it does not. I think an awesome thing to have in your home is a reverse osmosis water filter. I know it sounds fancy. Some of you probably have one. It's a very simple filtration system that they just install under your kitchen sink, and then they actually drill a second faucet so that you have a separate faucet just for that purified water for drinking, cooking, and another thing is it's really important to have a shower head filter as well.
Really?
Yes.
For your hair.
Well,
For the toxins.
yes, that's a really. I know we're getting a little off subject, but so hot water when it's steaming out, all of that chlorine, poof, turns to gas right away, and you're inhaling chlorine gas. It ain't great. It ain't gonna kill you either, but you can online, even at many natural food stores. It's just a simple little filter like this. You screw the shower head off, you screw the filter on, then the shower head screws onto that. Pennies, easy, no
How
problem.
long does the filter last?
A couple of years.
what
Totally.
about whey protein? Do you like whey protein?
No, and we need to
Okay.
talk about that.
White protein, like chicken. I mean,
No, I'm
So
talking about
whey protein.
Whey protein.
Whey
that I put
protein
in
is
my
dairy
smoothies.
protein. Whey protein is dairy protein. And so dairy has some relatively digestible protein. It's cool. But just a protein concentrate, like whey protein concentrate, is extremely hard for the body to digest. And it will just make you tired, basically. And it can be constipating, too. I do feel processed protein powders of the more elite level can fulfill a little bit of a role, just because I think it is better for most of us to cut back on animal protein, at least to some degree. The tough thing is our body types have adapted over the last 200,000 years all over the world of having animal protein in our diet. 60% of the world has fish, and the other 40% has some kind of animal protein. And so when people go vegetarian, it works for some people, not everybody. And it does help to have some kind of protein powder, like some protein in your smoothie in the morning to help cut back on animal protein.
But you don't use it. Don't you use your yogurt is your
Yes.
yogurt your protein?
Yes. I also do use a sprouted brown rice protein, a plant protein, which is cool.
Plant protein, you put it
Yes, and we
in
put some of that in your morning green drink.
What about soy yogurt?
Soy?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. The thing is too many processed soy products like all the soy cheese, soy milk, soy protein isolate. It can just kind of tweak your body's chemistry a little bit. It tips the scale. It produces too much estrogen in the body, which isn't great.
What about
Soy has been in the human diet in the Asian culture for a long time, tofu and tempeh. And those are in a slightly different category. Those are cool. They're all right.
What about
In moderation.
What about almond milk?
Well, so these boxed milks, those were made from those heat-sensitive protein fats. And I think drinking boxed almond milk all the time, I think it's going to affect your thyroid. If you want like boxed milk ready to go that isn't dairy, if you're a dairy-free person, I would do either just rice milk or coconut milk. Get one that doesn't have processed sugar in it, though. So back to the dairy thing. It is such a disaster with low-fat milk, skim milk. Why is everybody becoming lactose sensitive? Because we're drinking lactose concentrate. Remember, I was talking about the importance of having saturated fats. I consider out of all the dairy products, butter and ghee to be the most elite and the most beneficial. You get protein from everything. You get calcium from other things as well. You actually don't get very much calcium from milk, even though it's super high in calcium. The phosphorus content cancels it out a little bit. It's still good, but especially give your kids coconut and butter and whole milk. They really do need it because their brains are developing so fast. That's why kids like milk. But again, some kids are lactose sensitive, so coconut is a genius food.
Coconut milk.
So, can we ask you some real life questions?
Sure.
Because we all don't live at the ashram. Most of us go out to dinner a couple of times a week.
Yes.
We're at steakhouses or great seafood houses or great junk food houses.
Yes.
And if that's your lifestyle, you could be good for breakfast and lunch, but if your dinners are like 3-4 dinners a week, and they're entertainment experiences, and there are shared appetizers, and there's fatty main courses, and there's shared side dishes, how do you exist and not gain weight?
Go somewhat fed already.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it is just a few meals a week, you're going to be fine. I don't care if you're living a really active lifestyle and you're integrating all these other points I'm telling you into your general lifestyle practice. You're going to be fine, man. Your chemistry is sturdy. You're just going to digest all that stuff, break it down. Your liver's going to filter all the junk. This is what your body is built to do.
What about the
Body's built to do
kidneys?
it.
What's the best thing for the kidneys?
You know what? That's a really important question because people are getting kidney stones now, and what's happening? Why is this happening? I would say the most damaging thing we do to our kidneys, the absolute worst thing we can do to our kidneys is multivitamins.
Really?
I know that may raise some eyebrows. But here is just a simple fact. Those nutrients, we call them, didn't come from food. They come from minds. And they're not digestible by the body. We've all, not to gross you out, but we've all seen how it makes our pee like a strange color. That's wear and tear. It's subtle, but take one of those, what they call a silver bullet every day. That ain't good.
Really?
No.
It's bad for your kidneys.
Absolutely. It's
What about
absolute wear
vitamin
and
E,
tear.
omega-3?
Okay, that's a different category. If you have some kind of ailment of some kind and you need to take one specific nutrient, those have their role. to get you back up to help you get back up to speed. Hopefully you don't. For example, hopefully you don't have to take calcium all your life. Now omega-3s, that's a food. That's a food. I mean, if you're taking like some kind of concentrated like fish oil or flaxseed oil, you're cool. That stuff's great.
It's just oil.
Yes, it's oil. It's a food. Where a multivitamin, I ain't no
What
food.
about B12?
Well, it can fill a bit of a role to help you get back up to speed if you become severely B12 deficient, but people just aren't aware of what like the extreme B12 foods are, which I would consider to. So animal protein helps, but the highest B12 content food is spirulina. Who was talking about that?
Spirulina. I mean, I was always told, I don't do it, but stick a spoonful of spirulina.
So you're getting a mega dose of spirulina in your morning green drink, and I am sincerely confident that blue-green algae, spirulina, are among the most important foods we put in our body. Green foods. It's a green food, and it's just extremely high in chlorophyll. That's why it makes it so dark green. And so I talked about greens pulling toxic funk out, but like something like spirulina, it has just massive amounts of B12, and I do believe that getting that sort of stuff is what gives you the life force to be able to do that. So, but I mean, certain vitamins and minerals taken for a period, they have their place. But it's kind of funny. I mean, what's the one piece of nutrition advice that a doctor gives you? I mean, they give you a few, but one of them is always take a multivitamin. And doctors are geniuses. I'm definitely not downplaying doctors. Their role, medical doctors, they're geniuses at diagnosis, trauma, surgery, and at least telling you where you need to go. And then it's natural doctors who will devise a little plan for you. That's their role. So.
Are there any foods that you, like you said, multivitamins are poison? Any foods that you would just never eat in your lifetime that you would say, just don't touch this food? It's horrible for you.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Ham.
I mean,
That's awesome.
They went out of business, right? Yeah.
Twinkie went out of business?
There was a huge race
No,
for
they're
it.
being bought. Somebody's going to buy it.
I never eat processed sugar, even if I'm at if they're passing out birthday cake, I'll maybe eat a bite, but man, if I eat a whole piece of cake, I feel so queasy. I don't have any processed sugar anymore. I don't miss it because I haven't had any in years, and you just eventually lose interest.
What about raw cane sugar? Is that processed? No.
Well, so you'll see in all of these natural products, whole cane sugar or evaporated cane juice, that's just a disguise. It's sugar. It's just a disguise. It might, if it's like brown sugar, slightly better. So you've seen sucanat or what are some other ones? Turbinado sugar. Those, no, this is still cane sugar, where just the molasses part hasn't been taken out. It's not bleached. Where white sugar is just like cocaine. And then brown sugar, all they do is add brown sugar, they just add the molasses. Brown sugar, they just add the molasses back in. So the whole thing to do is, if you have processed sugar, to at least have just the whole dry cane juice, and it is a little better. Agave, it's another processed sugar. I kind of put it neck and neck. I know there was like the buzz 10 years ago. Agave, it's this amazing raw cactus syrup.
Yeah,
just
I've got
put it
that.
all over your food. It's a processed sugar. So that's a good subject to talk about. Actually, we talked about keeping our sweet tooth happy with fruit most of the time. I have processed sugar in my diet. What are the elite processed sugars? I would say honey and maple syrup. Good honey, though. I mean, there are two vastly different categories. Raw honey, and it's a lot of sugar, and it will send your blood sugar up and down and side to side. But have a small amount in your tea, or stir it into your yogurt. That is a freaking brilliant combination, and it has slightly medicinal properties. That's a great combination, by the way, for like a snack if you do have dairy. The whole stuff, whole yogurt, drizzle a little honey in there, stir it up, sprinkle some sprouted nuts and seeds in there. Freaking so satisfying. Really does the trick. The dairy thing, do the whole stuff, just less of it.
And do you do the Greek yogurt or do you do the...
Yes, I love Greek yogurt.
Do you
All
do
Greek
0%?
yogurt.
Like the Faye?
No,
Calcium?
no. Really? It's totally doable.
It is, and she says it's
Hi, how are you?
Yes.
you get your probiotic and whatever.
Do you
Yes.
do the 0% or is that bad for you?
Total disaster.
It is.
Total
Why?
disaster.
Because you have gelatin or whatever in there?
Well, they take remember, the best quality, the most health-forming part of dairy is the saturated fat for the brain. Again, it requires some degree of moderation because it can raise your cholesterol. What up, Broski? Yeah, good. So, yeah, the whole thing is whole dairy, just less of it.
So
If you have
skim
dairy.
milk also isn't good for you?
Total disaster. It shouldn't even. It shouldn't be called skim milk. It should be called lactose concentrate. Why is everybody becoming sensitive to lactose? Because we're just inundating our system with it, and it's hard to digest.
So don't go margarine, go butter. Don't go to non-fat, go.
Exactly. And many people are happy to hear that, and that's your body's instinct saying, "Oh gosh, well that explains why I'm happy to hear it. That it's absolutely the best thing." Well, it's vastly superior to all of these lower fat, low saturated fat products that are seriously processed. So,
What about calcium?
well,
I
right.
mean, you can get it from
Everybody's
heavy
becoming
greens,
vitamin D
right?
deficient. We need to talk about calcium. I mean, what's the other core? It's our skeletal frame.
Yeah,
we didn't have it.
bones.
If we didn't have it, we'd be just a bunch of jellyfish. So.
Yeah, our bones. That's so important.
Well, especially as you get
It's two parts.
So I'm curious
Alright.
about that. 'Cause
They
my
get
mom's
brittle
osteoarthritis.
as you get older, right?
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
And then I last year tested very low in vitamins
Okay.
from a blood.
I'm so glad we brought this subject up. It's really important. This is a bit of a crisis going on. Actually, it's rampant. And healthy bones, it's two things: vitamin D and calcium. First, calcium, plant foods, leafy greens. Chia seeds are awesome. Sesame seeds are awesome. Yep.
So,
Dairy's okay.
like
But
your
massive
yogurt?
amounts of greens. And what happens is, okay, so what we need to do is add high calcium foods, but also cut back on foods that dissolve calcium out of your body. It's two parts. Add high calcium foods. What foods is it that hang on. What is it that dissolves calcium out of the body? Sugar. Processed sugar.
Caffeine. Does that do it?
A little bit, but sugar's the worst. Yep.
So if I'm adding leafy greens, but I'm not decreasing my
Sugar intake, there's no point, I guess.
Well, it's good to do both. Adding greens, it's really gonna help. Do both. And the other part is vitamin D, and nothing compares to that. That's
and
the
I live in
source,
Chicago, so
right?
so when you can't get that, they put me on a
What's
Uh,
vitamin
pill
D?
because I was so low. But
The sun.
Right. Okay.
So,
But
Which are, for those
Which
and
But you
there's
don't get it
cancer,
on
and there's still cancer.
here's the problem, though. Here's the
all
problem
it
is
doesn't take much of that though, right? And direct sunlight, like
exactly. People are now taking massive amounts of vitamin D. It doesn't do anything. To heck with it. You're not absorbing any of that. Nominal. What you're getting from that, 100 times more. That right there is the greatest source of life, and now we're all afraid of it. Yes, we get radiation from the sun. The whole thing to do is to get your direct sunshine at the right time of day. Within an hour or two of sunrise and sunset, because the sun is lower on the horizon, it's traveling through the atmosphere at an angle and it's filtering out harmful rays. Those rays interact with tannins in the skin. It produces vitamin D on the surface of the skin, which is then absorbed into the bloodstream. And that is the number one catalyst for building a sturdy skeletal system that will last a long, long time. And what has happened? Well, I mean, people are inside more, but the bigger problem is all of these skin care products, skin wear and tear products, are just, they all have SPF now. They all do, thinking that they're doing a good thing.
what do you think about that?
Well,
SPF.
SPF has a role when you're at the beach.
Yeah.
Putting it on your body every day, all day, it ain't great. It's not great for your skeletal health, and it's not great for your overall health and longevity, just because remember how vitamin D is absorbed into the skin, into the bloodstream? Same with everything you put on your skin. I'd rather rub, I don't know what, but I don't use skincare products. I don't. You know the best skincare product? Olive oil.
I was going to say
Olive oil. And the way to use it so that you're not all greasy, in the shower, just a tablespoon, head to toe, and then rinse, 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 and then towel dry. It's the best thing you can put on your skin.
But then how do
Natural
you
vitamin
smell?
E. You don't smell at all. I don't smell, do I?
No.
We don't know.
I'm not that close to
No, and you know what? Really good quality cold pressed olive oil doesn't have that kind of weird smell. It doesn't. It doesn't have that weird smell. So we do need to have sunblock when we're at the beach. Yes, it's not good to get sunburned, at least regularly. That's not good. But we need to get direct sunlight, and it doesn't take much. And it's okay if you're in Chicago. It really is. You don't have to have sun every day. I mean, the Eskimos, they go months without sun, and they're fine.
That's because they're eating the well blower.
Yes, exactly. I know I keep bragging about the Eskimos, but
They're a good example.
yes. So we got to have direct sunshine. It's the most important thing. That right there. It's the number one source of life. That interacted with this frozen clod of dirt, and somehow just sunlight interacting with water, poof, gave rise to algae. Algae gave off oxygen, created our atmosphere. Air we breathe, water we drink, greens, sunshine. Those are the main four things. You know what? That is half of why you're just going to feel your transformation. More than half. The food is an essential link. You couldn't do all that without this food, so the food's a bit of a foundation, if you will. But the most transformative part of this program is all the hiking. You are getting so much bang for your buck out there. You are getting your vitamin D. If you use skincare products, just stick it in your backpack. Go for the first hour with bare arms.
Without.
And then if you're not, the best sunblock of all, long sleeve white cotton t-shirt. Can't compare. You can put it on and off whenever you want. It's great. And a wide brimmed hat. But if you didn't bring a cotton t-shirt, that's okay. Take your sunblock, but don't put it on until you've hiked for an hour, and then put it on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then you get your vitamin D. And so not only are you getting your vitamin D out there, you're breathing tons of fresh air, and you are doing the best exercise that you can possibly do. Why is hiking the best exercise you can possibly do? That is the number one activity that our body adapted to over 200,000 years of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. This body has evolved. It is built to be able to do that every day with no rest days. That's why you can do it. We forget that. When we're back in our normal routine, we do a walk or we walk for a few days and then we think we need a rest day. No, you don't. You really don't. It's amazing what the body can do. So not only are you getting your cardio, that's also load-bearing exercise. You're lugging your body weight up and down thousands of vertical feet this week. And you're building the biggest muscles in your body. It's not all about cardio. You want to keep your metabolism high? Build lean muscle. And there's no better muscles to build than those. You build sturdy muscles. I mean, it's part of what holds your frame aright. That keeps your metabolism, boom, there. And you may not lose weight here because you are building lean muscle, but I am confident you will all lose inches if that's a priority for you. So it's incredibly powerful stuff. Now, what's the greatest thing you get out there? You get the exercise, you get the sunshine. The greatest thing you're getting out there, number one?
This.
O2.
That's 2?
You are yawning. Oxygen. You get your body. No, your body's instincts were answering the question. Oxygen.
Oxygen.
You are yawning. Oxygen. So that's why you come back with such a buzz. Oxygen is the most important nutrient we put in our body. All these nutrients are important, but you can't go 2 minutes without oxygen. And out there, because you're doing all that breathing, that's why you come back with a little bit of a buzz. What is the most cut-to-the-chase, effective thing we can do for our health and longevity? Number 1.
Breathe.
Yes.
Ask Michael Jackson.
Yes. And here is the problem. Here is what has happened. Now the human body only breathes approximately 60% as much as it did 200 years ago. And what has happened? It's kind of a stress, if you will. Not kind of the negative kind where we're going a little nuts or fretting or anything. It's more just too many irons in the fire up here. We have so much to think about. There's a part of the brain that does the thinking and problem solving. And it is working so hard that other more delicate, sensitive parts of the brain don't get they just don't, your brain just can't do all that stuff together. And brain waves that control some of your involuntary functions, like your diaphragm, they grow weaker. That brain wave grows weaker. Have you ever noticed that when you're just punching away at the computer, like feeling pressured by time and you just don't want to give up, all of a sudden you're just like,
Holding your breath.
yes, we know that feeling. And you sit back and you take a deep breath, and boom, you feel a little better right away. Just one breath, it feeds the brain right away. It doesn't take any time. It really doesn't. And so I really sincerely believe the number one best thing you can do for your health is train your brain to breathe more. It's like a muscle. It's like a muscle, and just that one sensitive part of the brain has atrophied. It's biologically true. That brain wave has been measured, and it is just weaker. And so here's what I challenge you to do this. When you wake up in the morning, for just the first 3 minutes, sit on the edge of your bed and do sets of 10 breaths. And the reason I say sets is because if you just say I'm going to breathe for 3 minutes, you forget. 2 breaths, I forget. I can't do it. I have to count to 10. Do this with me. Just sit on the edge of your chair. And here's the protocol. We just want to reach to the top of our head. You can do this sitting or standing. Doesn't matter. We're not calling this meditation. Meditation, you are breathing, and the oxygen buzz is a great side effect. But we're doing this purely for the physiological reason. Okay. So you're reaching through the top of your head, and what you're doing is you're using these muscles back here to pull your spine long. Remember, the nervous system is the core of your health. You are creating space between your vertebrae for oxygen-rich blood to get in there so that this can talk to this, and so that this can talk through this to all of this. Okay? So, okay, just... You can keep going if you want, but do you feel any different?
It's a lot of work.
It is. But you're training.
So how do you explain?
I'm definitely not trying to come off as any kind of genius or whatever, but do you feel any just a little more sharp, clear, anything in that nature? Maybe not. That's okay. Yeah. Subtle. But that's why you come back with a buzz, is because you've been doing that for hours hiking. So exercise, that's a brilliant side effect. The most beneficial thing you get out of exercise is just all that oxygen you've been circulating. Again, it's the most important nutrient we put in your brain. It really is. And so doing that for 3 minutes in the morning, again, you're just training your brain. That's it. And you're going to be breathing deeper on a more consistent basis. So, and you can do it sitting or standing. It doesn't matter. But you just sit or stand tall. And the only protocol is to reach to the top of your head, not shoulders up. It's good to relax your shoulders. So do it, just this week, 3 minutes, sets of 10. Count to 10. And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go like 80%. 80%. And whatever frequency you wish. That was my frequency that we just did. You do your frequency. Doesn't matter. Every body type is different. You do your frequency. That's it. That's it.
So are omega-3s or the spirulina better for memory?
Well, omega-3s are important, but not for everybody. I know that there's the whole buzz about omega-3s, but fish and flax seeds haven't been in everybody's diet all over the world. I've taken massive amounts of omega-3s. I was trying to heal myself of seizures, and doctors were like, yeah, omega-3s. I was taking so much, it didn't make a difference at all. And I don't like fish. I'll eat it. I ate some last night because I was starving. but it doesn't make any difference for me. It might for you, because you're thinking about it. That's your body's instincts talking to you. It likely will. So do it. You know what? This is funny. So the fish oil thing is questionable. It's a tough one. The animal protein thing right now is really tough. It's a very debatable subject, and I don't have the perfect answer for you because, again, animal protein has been in the human diet for a long, long time. Too much does have wear and tear, but now in this day and age, because of the quality, it has more wear and tear, and it also has wear and tear on the planet. So what do? I say at the very least have less and go for the elite stuff. With animal protein, by the way, it is important to have lean stuff. Sausage, bacon, all that kind of saturated fat, animal lard, that stuff can really jack your cholesterol. It really can. It really can.
That's the reverse idea versus the dairy.
Yes. Yes. So, where was I? We got off track a little bit. Back to omega-3s. Fish oils. The reason I brought this up is the whole fish thing. It's a weird thing right now that our fish quality just ain't what it used to be. And I don't think eating fish all the time is great. I know you can get these fish oils that are deemed really pure, and it's definitely better than like eating cod. But I think a brilliant product that is fulfilling an awesome role is algae oil, and you can find it at your natural food store probably, or definitely online. Algae oil, and it's a similar balance to fish oils, and it tastes disgusting. And you can get it in a gel cap form. You can get it in a gel cap form, and if you need to pound serious omega-3s, I say that's the way to go. Algae oil. Huh? No, so that is a different kind of blue-green algae. There are literally millions of different blue-green algae. Some are poisonous, some are nutritive like this in your green drinks. That stuff is your morning green drink just encapsulated. And it's therefore if you don't want to drink your morning green drink, or if you feel you need some in the afternoon.
You have to have like 10 of them, don't you?
That is not the oils. That's just dry algae powder. That's just the nutritive stuff. The algae oil is a different kind of algae, and it's not the whole algae. It's actually pressed, and you're pressing the oil out. It's like fish. You're not having fish powder. They're pressing the oil out of the fish. Same thing with the algae. They're pressing the oil out. And again, it tastes gross, but you can get it in gel cap form. And I think it's a good product for people who need more omega-3s. I do think it's really quite brilliant because algae, you grow more algae, and it creates more atmosphere. Even today, the majority of our atmosphere comes from algae, 60%. It's amazing stuff. I really do feel it's going to be a portal of our survival on Earth.
How do you explain to people that violate everything we've talked about in the last hour and live to 100?
And are thin.
And eat french fries.
The farmers that eat a pound of bacon a day, and they're drinking Jack Daniels every night, and they're eating fatty ribeye steaks every day of their life.
It's a mystery.
80, 90, 100.
It's one of the mysteries of the universe. Again, this protocol is not the law for everybody. It is for most people.
Well, you just
I think it's
quickly
all
finish
that.
your day. So you do
Oh,
a smoothie,
okay.
you do yogurt with honey, and the
So again, I'm more a fan of like 5 meals, smaller meals.
Yeah.
And here it doesn't really fit into the schedule because of all of that, but you are getting like a little snack.
Yes, that counts.
So I think eggs are a brilliant food. Eggs.
You're for eggs.
Eggs.
And the whole egg?
Yes. The egg white thing, total disaster.
Yeah.
Egg white thing, Total freaking disaster.
Okay.
That came with the whole fat buzz. Because eggs are high in cholesterol, people were thinking like fat, it raises your cholesterol. No, it doesn't affect your cholesterol at all. Eggs have less than 1 gram of saturated fat. That's nominal.
So you can have an egg every morning?
I have 5.
Every morning?
Yes.
Well, he's
I was
having a
eating
smoothie.
two today, and I was
He's having a
feeling
smoothie.
guilty that I was eating too
No.
much.
Okay. I like to have
I have 2 every day.
Me too, also.
Eggs are a superfood. I think they're a genius food. I think out of all the animal products, they're the best.
5 eggs every morning.
Yes.
So
I cook my eggs in butter.
So you scramble them in butter.
Me too.
I have them over easy because I like the yolk. The yolk is the life force, and I think it's good to have it not super cooked, but scrambled's still cool. It's totally cool.
And then you have a piece of whole grain bread.
So bread, it's starchy food that I've really worked to cut back on. I don't do starchy. My body doesn't like starchy food. I don't have any starchy food.
So you have live bread that you can dip in.
So the bread I like, whole rye bread.
Right.
And it's 100% rye. The whole rye bread in the bread section is such junk food. It's ridiculous. It's rye flavored wheat flour bread.
Yeah.
And if you find rye bread, it'll be frozen. It's
It's in the frozen section.
and yeah,
the
you
good
keep it.
stuff, the good stuff in the frozen section. You can even find sprouted rye bread in the frozen section, can't you? Is it such a thing?
I don't know, maybe, but Ezekiel bread. It's fair. There's rye is not the only stuff. Rye is a grain that is just vastly superior to wheat. I'm telling you, it's all the wheat flour products, sugar and low grade fats that have been the main obesity culprits in our culture. So wheat products, we really have to cut back on them, and just starchy grains in general. Go with the elite grains, which I consider to be quinoa, brown rice, rye, oats are okay. And yes, some of those have gluten in them, but wheat is like the gluten concentrate, and it's wear and tear. It really is. Okay, like a piece of French bread with a meal every couple days, is that going to hurt? No. But the problem with all this starchy food is our systems are constantly inundated with it, with all the bread, all the products that have wheat flour in it, and things of that nature. So I know that you were just asking me about bread, but if you want like some kind of bread with your eggs, try the whole rye bread and just toast it, put some butter on there, and it's really nice.
I like rye bread.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah, it's brown.
What do you think of sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut's cool.
It's supposed to be good for you. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But raw.
But raw. Yeah,
Yes.
raw and with just water.
Yeah.
Sauerkraut, right.
So Billy,
Sauerkraut is just fermented vegetables, and it's great.
you-
Totally great.
you start with the smoothie and you have the eggs for lunch, or how do you do this?
So 5 meals. I chug my water. I have my tea. I have my smoothie. A few hours later, I have my eggs and rye bread, and then
5 eggs in one sitting.
yes,
I'd be obese.
Yeah. No, that's right. We'll have two.
it really isn't that many. It really, you'll be
5 eggs
surprised.
is 350 calories.
Okay, 60 calories times, yeah, pretty much.
And then your piece of bread. Or
Yeah.
But you're so satiated because of the protein, right?
Yeah, you're satiated.
Well, the protein fats.
And the fats.
Yes,
okay,
the
sorry.
fats.
Right.
Yeah.
Put a slice of tomato.
So your eggs are your main meal.
No. No.
There's not make it so much, people.
I'm trying to get us on.
So I'm having these meals every few hours. Every few hours. And you know what? This is just my lifestyle. And also my metabolism is crazy because I do an exorbitant amount of exercise.
Yeah.
So I have to eat a huge volume of food. But you know what? Okay, here's a point I really want to make. More plant foods, less of all these processed grains, you are going to be eating substantially greater volume. You're eating more volume, but at the end of the day, because these foods aren't so calorie dense, because they're more just nutrient dense, you're going to find that even though you're eating greater volume, you're just having fewer calories, and you're going to be satiated because you're getting more of the nutrients and the good quality fats that we're talking about. You're going to be golden, you'll see. Go with this protocol. I challenge you to do it for a month.
So what do you eat for lunch?
So middle of the day foods.
You have this all
Soup.
recorded, right?
Yeah, but if you want it emailed, you got to write it down.
He challenges us
I'm on your website already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, middle of the day foods, soups and salads, just massive amounts of plant foods, because middle of the day.
Yeah, what about beans and pulses and humus?
Yeah, those are cool. Plant foods, soups and salads. That's what middle of the day foods are, and when I say soups and salads, I mean I'm talking about like really amazing stuff. You're gonna have amazing soup tonight, and it's so easy. Don't be intimidated.
Billy's soups tonight.
Don't be. Soup is so easy to make. I make a gallon pot in an hour, and I'm good all week.
What do you make it with?
So all I do is chop up sweet potato, broccoli, green beans, and kale. Chop it all up, throw it in the pot, boil it, and here's the secret to making soup totally amazing. Scoop a quarter of the pot out into a blender until it's totally liquefied. And then add your spices, whether it's a chili powder blend or Indian curry spices. And then here is what takes it to the elite level. Put a ton of ghee or butter in there.
What kind of what?
Ghee or butter.
Indian butter?
They're the same thing. So ghee is just purified butter, and what that means is it's been low boiled. The butter's been low boiled until the protein separates, because there is a little bit of protein in butter. And the advantage of ghee is one thing: it just doesn't burn. Butter can burn.
Yogurt. Is there yogurt in there?
Yeah, that's key.
In your soup, I don't know. Personally, I prefer butter in my soup. You make it by putting all so you're scooping out a quarter of the pot or a third of the pot into the blender and totally liquefying it. And you pour that back in, and it makes a really meaty, hearty base.
You feel like you're having more like a stew.
Yes, it's very stew-like.
I have a mushroom recipe that I do.
It's very just hearty, and then you can, if you want some salty crunchy, sprinkle some almonds on there, or have a toasted piece of rye bread. But remember, the most important foods, greens. So if you have soup, it would be depressing if we just had to eat salad all the time. It really would. And so actually, okay, here's a brilliant thing. With your greens, there are so many ways to have them. Okay, you're just not eating salad all the time. Throw your raw greens, like a bag of spinach, throw it in the blender, dump a bunch of olive oil, squeeze a lemon in there, and you make a green sauce. It's raw spinach sauce that you can pour over grains. That's going to be your dinner tomorrow night. Pay attention to that one. It's often a favorite. All it is, just raw spinach in the blender with lemon juice and olive oil. That's it. And you're getting your raw greens in a totally different, enjoyable form. And so you can do that, really. You can throw any fruit or vegetables in the blender and make sauces, dips, pestos, dressings, all the above. Really nice, really easy to do, too. And you are going to have some foods here that you're going to totally love. And those are foods that I really want you to pay attention to, because that's probably your body's instinct saying, that's good for me. Again, every body type is different, right? Your nutritive needs are different from mine. Your nutritive needs are different from hers. And so you're going to naturally gravitate toward foods and meals here that I do feel confident that's your body's instinct saying, yep, that's a good one for me. And I challenge you to integrate it into your diet at least a couple times a week. Okay? Yeah. So soups and salads in the middle of the day, and to really satiate with the soups, make sure you have either dump olive oil in there or butter or coconut oil. You've got to have the fats in there. And then if you are having soup, you guys, I am such a fan of what's the simplest salad recipe of all? Just stick your hand in there and just eat it. People always have their raw greens. You gotta make a salad out of it. Whatever. If you just eat a big handful of arugula, it's like, all right, this is pretty good. Or these spring greens. Because I don't really do salads too much this time of year, I just have my soup and then I get this massive handful of greens and I just eat it. And you can also, if you have to travel, you can just stuff it in your cheek and hit the road, and you can kind of chew on it throughout the day.
All right, so you're at a Super Bowl party, and there's 100 buffalo wings.
Yes.
There's a couple of pepperoni pizzas.
Yeah.
And there's nachos.
Yes.
And there's alcohol.
I would stick solely with the buffalo wings because those will satisfy your appetite, and you're not just eating a bunch. You're not eating a bunch of starchy food. I know that may raise some eyebrows because everybody thinks of me being, as a health person that I would be vegan or vegetarian, and I was, and whatever. I mean, I wouldn't eat buffalo wings every day. That's for dang sure.
You'll eat filet mignon over a sirloin or a ribeye because it's leaner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't care about that too much. I don't care about that too much. I have a ton of saturated fat in my diet. That's just how my body type rolls.
So what do you have for dinner then?
So dinner, that's if you have animal protein in your diet, that's the time of day to have it. Animal protein isn't fuel. It's restorative. When is your body doing its restoration? Yes. Animal protein makes you tired.
Yeah, it's like turkey.
Yes. If you like the whole chicken salad thing in the middle of the day is a disaster. Okay, now every body type is different. Some people do okay with that. But many people, they have animal protein in the middle of the day and they're tired and they don't know why. I mean, there are obviously a number of reasons, but having too much animal protein is one of them because it's hard for the body to break down. Your body's having to work. It isn't fuel.
Right.
So yeah, end of the day, I have animal protein and a massive amount of greens.
Yeah, for sports, they're all the same. For kids,
Yes.
you don't get the protein unless you have 24 hours.
Yes.
You can't lose next one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if they got the 8 a.m. game or whatever, you don't get enough of that.
What about, like, for example, in Brazil, all the spas, you won't find one spa in Brazil where they don't give you Jell-O. Because Jell-O is like collagen. It's the best thing. It gets rid of cellulite. It's the best thing for your skin. It's just, Brazil, how they are with surgery and all that. So, I mean, like, they swear by Jell-O. What do you think of that?
You swear by Jell-O? By Jell-O? It's not like
Jell-O.
the God, you so much sugar in it.
Wait, so what's the benefit?
She's asking if she should eat Jell-O, if we should eat it.
Oh, no, I eat it anyway.
For joint health?
She's not giving up her Jell-O.
Is this for joint health or what?
No, this is just for, like, collagen for women.
Right.
You want to keep your face up.
Yeah.
You want to keep your,
Look young.
gravity.
And you don't want to go to plastic surgery. So she's asking if you should eat Jell-O instead of.
It's like you eat your brain, drink water. Isn't water the best thing for your skin?
I can go all of that.
Bye guys, I'll see you Wednesday morning. Have a good hike. Hang in there. It's really better.
I think calling this Mellow Monday was really not a good
No.
feeling.
You're supposed to be mellow. Day's not mellow, so yeah, be mellow, be nice to
Enjoy
yourself.
your day off.
Thanks, guys.
Later,
brother. Thanks. See you soon.
Tomorrow night, are you in?
What? What's going on?
Our crew of us are rallying over to the King. OCT is playing.
What's the King?
Maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
So, do you drink alcohol?
No.
You don't have a beer or nothing?
Nah, I don't like it.
Come on,
It makes me tired. It makes me tired. That's cool. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
It just doesn't work in their system. So did you become an expert in all this because you had this health issue and then food helped, no matter what doctor
The whole
did for you?
lifestyle protocol thing, I did everything.
Right.
Diet, right amount of exercise. Remember the whole big picture here? The big picture that we need to grasp is we're creating the silver bullet with our lifestyle, which is oxygen, nutrient rich blood. We're creating that with our lifestyle. That's the silver bullet with the foods we eat. And then with the right amount of exercise, you're just pumping the handle, getting it head to toe. That's it. That's number one for our health and longevity and energy and
So I have a question. So if you don't have hills hiking, because we don't.
yes.
So what do you like the elliptical, the motion?
Well, the advantage of this is you're stepping over uneven ground. You're exercising all the stabilizers.
Okay.
Still, with an elliptical machine or a Stairmaster, you are exercising your biggest muscles, so that is good, but it's so repetitive that has way more advantage. Stairs are better. You can just do sets, and I'll tell you, if you want to take stairs to another level, because you're not going to do stairs for 3 or 4 hours like this.
No.
But to get like your 20, 30-minute workout, and stairs
Hard.
Much more work because you're going
You
up.
can do about 3 minutes.
Yes, but you want to take it to another level. Weights.
Like,
Then you're getting more of a workout head to toe. And
While you're on the stairs.
Yes, and that's actually the elite workout. Actually, hiking plus holding something, because now you're working everything else. And I know even if they're fat 5-pound weights, after a minute you're not going to feel like you're working very hard. 20 minutes later, you're going to be working. You're going to feel all of this up and this, because these are stabilizers. When you're walking with something, again, that is the activity that our body adapted to over 200,000 years. Trekking and carrying things. We didn't have camelbacks back then.
so if I'm walking at home and I'm on flat land, obviously walking with weights is how easy.
Absolutely. Just carry a water bottle or something. You've seen people do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a friend who wears a weighted vest.
Better to carry things. You're getting way more out of it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I always look at it.
Because now you're working all of this. And when you're walking, be conscientious of pulling your shoulders back.
Yeah,
I'm really
Do it.
conscientious about this. My posture isn't perfect because with this injury, I lost circulation to my
How
arms.
did you injure yourself, sir? Surfing.
I crashed a go-kart. I wish it was something a little more romantic than that, but yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yes. So it just created something. Yes. Yes. And so I had to rebuild my neurological health. And you're using, remember all of this. This is the core of your health. You're doing this physiological protocol ultimately for this. That's it. My job is to really.
But this feeds this. This doesn't feed.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Because this is all taking care of this, and this is telling all of this what to do.
Right.
So when this is working better, it's totally reciprocated, constant ripple effect. And while subtle in our normal lifestyle, it's happening. And that is the greatest value here, because it's a ripple effect, but it's like tidal wave ripple effect, and you feel so different. And you're like, wow, I had no idea.
Which is interesting after 5 days, really, when you get down to it. 5 days of hiking.
It's transformational. It really is.
They've discovered, I read this 5 years ago or something when my children were younger, that you know, like the jumpy sticks and things that we all stick kids in these days, and that where you hang and jump. So because the legs are connected to the brain, this is just a theory, but they think this is one of the reasons for so much ADD and ADHD, is because the children are now, when they're babies and toddlers, are now jumping more than they naturally would have been, right? Because they're in these bodies.
This explains everything with my voice.
Yeah. because they're
jumping. Perfect. I'm like, ding! The Cheerios were there, I was getting a break. It's all
And because they jump sooner than they naturally would have been jumping and moving their legs, it's connected to the brain. They've got their some sort of image.
The best thing you can do for your kid's diet is butter.
Butter. Give them
That's
butter.
number one.
Okay. And so, not these, I'm almost buying those things at Whole Foods, the soy garden and all those things in tubs. Right. Get the butter.
Absolutely, chuck that stuff.
Okay.
Chuck it.
Smart balance.
And I like that, because activation's butter. You know those
He's just saying.
Yeah,
Caffeine's really bad for you, right?
Well, we talked about it earlier, how keep it to a moderate level, cap it at 100 milligrams, which if you have 100 milligrams when you leave here, you're going to be like, woo!
Oh, I did. I had a latte when I left the ashram at the airport. I was swinging off the floor.
I'm pretty confident that was probably more like 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
Really?
Because a Starbucks 16 ounce, like their latte grande, is 500 milligrams.
Yeah, isn't it better just to do espresso?
Well, yeah.
That's what I mean.
But
You
cap your coffee at 1 cup.
Yeah.
And not Starbucks. They add more
I was
caffeine.
wired. I had no idea what was
All right, so
I don't drink caffeine.
let's just say,
I
let's say you're teenage boys, and they're trying to put on something. They're trying to, I'm trying to toss away the protein powder things they keep buying and all this stuff, right? So what do you feed them? You feed them huge things of meat and spaghetti, and you try to get meat from
Meat is what makes you gain. Well, okay, so what you're trying to do with your boys, you want them to get fat, feed them starchy foods.
Right. You want them strong.
You want to get them strong, they need to be doing like protein. And
They're all taking protein
I
shakes.
and load-bearing exercise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're doing
but
it.
it's,
Yeah.
They're doing
I
it.
don't, I don't.
They're just,
I drink
you know,
twice a day.
they're very mad there's not enough food in the house.
Right.
2 cups of coffee probably.
Right.
And then.
Right.
I mean, the other problem is everything you're describing takes so
Kids,
much.
kids do
Yeah,
fine with
that's my
burgers.
treat.
Yeah.
That's your sugar drink.
Remember how I was talking about animal lard we
So
need
when
to
do you
cut
drink
back?
it?
Right.
Because
So
you're
we
trying to
really need to
eat
worry
that.
about our kids' cholesterol now.
That's
That's why kids are all things
Yeah.
American stuff that was
Why I don't
so
see it.
that nature
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
their
I
cravings
love
after
it.
that of all times.
Right.
With not
Right.
drinking alcohol anymore, now he's drinking like a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And he's having trouble settling
Let's
his
say
system
you're,
now because
you
his
know, for
system's
me, right,
it's
fortunately,
such a bad
you work
luck.
full-time,
Yeah.
do all this thing. How in the
Yeah.
world do you
Caffeinated,
ever
that's bad.
get this whole
Yeah.
food thing?
Or sugar.
Right.
Nobody has time to do this.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well,
You
because
just do like sparkling water,
because
like
your
you're doing something. That's
your
really
brain
helps.
is being
The bubbles
altered
stop and-
while you're here,
It's kind of good on
it's
you.
going to become more of a
Yeah.
priority
It becomes
because you're
better
going
where
to
you feel like you're
learn.
like having a
You
drink
mean
or whatever.
the greatest thing you get from this program
Like Perrier and
is
like
just
with lemon and like
you know how
like
much
kind of feel like
this
you're
stuff
like
actually affects you. It's not
yeah
different.
when you're really not, but it
And it
yeah.
naturally just becomes part of a priority for you.
Live naturally.
Absolutely.
So, but if you have the choice between having a Coca-Cola and Diet Coke,
Hey, how you doing, sweetie?
Almost a hike. That's a tough one.
My shirt.
That's a tough one.
Well, my mother is like 85 now, and she's first by. I'm from Texas originally, but Dr. Pepper. And yeah, that's but not diet. Not diet. She does Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper's actually pretty good.
Straight up.
These kids look up. Are we supposed to just go show up at our?
No, they'll come find
They'll come find you.
The only
Okay.
one that likes fit, but that realized that.
But what we need is a kit list, right? That's what I put on my mirror. You know, the kit list that sort of says,
I'd rather have
not this, I'm not gonna listen to this. We need a thing that says, you know, go buy this, you know, have the butter, go buy the sprouted meat, have the eggs. I guess.
But is it this theory that
The
it's
sprouted
not about what
meat.
you're cutting out, it's what you're
Is that what
adding
it
into the right, and then as you do that,
Sprouted
it kind of
meat?
works itself
I
out.
like that
sprouted
theory.
beans.
Oh.
Sprouted
I
beans.
like that theory. That's I used to really emphasize that more. You heard me
What
talk
was
years
it?
ago, didn't you?
I've never heard you talk, but no, this is my first time here.
Oh, I thought I recognized you.
I have a familiar look.
Oh.
Is that nice? Is that nice though?
I told them that earlier. But no, I think that instead of making, because everyone's ego gets involved, right? So you're trying to like not do the right thing. I said, if you're instead of worrying about what you're not, doing in your diet that's negative, like a negative thing, if you're putting in the right things, your body will it automatically will negate like, what you're not doing, and it will be a positive change, but almost transparent to you, so you're not like out thinking it, but like, all right, I'm gonna put a good thing in, and then, or I'm gonna drink a glass of water first, then I'm gonna put something good in, and if I'm still hungry and craving my X, then I'll satisfy it with whatever. But if you order like how you put things
I
in your
really
body,
like that philosophy where you're just integrating more of the good stuff. And you'll just instinctively gravitate toward it more and more because you're arousing your body's instincts. You'll feel different. And it won't necessarily be a cognitive thing. But again, remember that this is the greatest technology we know of in the universe. And once you start going back into the lifestyle that this thing adapted to over hundreds of thousands of years of eating all of these medicinal plant foods, you will be guided and directed.
So what about those of us that can just not pass up the chocolate chip cookie? I mean, you just kind of have to get yourself off sugar.
just add in the right stuff and don't worry about your chocolate.
And just eat the chocolate chip cookie.
Well, but keep getting your natural sugar.
Yeah.
And get your butter. I mean, you're craving, when you have a chocolate chip cookie, you're craving
sugar.
You're craving sugar, butter, and chocolate.
Yeah.
And chocolate, people love. Have
love
chocolate, but go with the elite of the elite of the elite.
Like dark chocolate.
But like really dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Like 85%.
Yeah, no, my daughter's
And then you have a few squares and you're golden.
Right. And it fills you up.
Find a way to satisfy that craving.
Well, ladies,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel I got to talk everything I wanted to talk about, so this is good. It's good. I covered the really important stuff that I wanted to make sure you
And you did a
get.
good job of always bringing it back to the core places.
Thanks. Thanks.
Right?
Yes.
Listen, all of that, if you can't remember sunlight, oxygen, chlorophyll and what was left?
Right,
Exercise.
right, but we can't. I mean, there's something we really do that sunlight. We're either out in the sun or we're not in the sun.
But you know what, if you have 5
Right. Well, this is the extreme. This is the extreme. You, with this, right, this is not a lifestyle anybody could maintain. Not possible. Not possible. But it creates like this huge transformation, and then to maintain, you don't have to do this. To maintain, you just do bits and pieces of what I'm talking about here. Hike if you can. That's the best exercise you can do. Try to do it a couple times a week, and if you don't have 4 or 5 hours like you do here, carry weights in your hands. Get more bang for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Yes. Good. Yes.
That's huge because I'm always
Yes, and you were asking about skin. Oils are huge because oils, when they go rancid, when you cook with them, it's just, it's an inflammatory. It's wear and tear, especially on the skin.
Oils are bad for your skin, you're saying?
Cooked, like fried foods, especially.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cooked.
That I know.
Yes, fried foods majorly wear and tear for the skin.
Yeah, that I know.
Yep.
I know. Well, this is our problem. We love all these things. I mean, you know.
Exactly. We like fried food.
So, if you wrote your email down, I will send this to you. We went an hour and a half.
Long time. Thank you.
And